Hi, I'm Dean Sage.
And I'm Jack Hervin.
And this is Show Me Your Deck,
a podcast where we explore the intersections of oracles and chakras,
using our original decks to create new insights. Lovely episode 23.
Here we are.
Yes. And smooth sailing this morning. Everything.
Yeah, just plugged everything in, started going right into it.
Yes. We love that. We love easy.
I'm not used to it. I was like, are we beginning already?
I was like, there aren't, 30 minutes of obstructions. What's happening?
let's go with it before anything messes up.
Yes. Oh, and it's the weather changed too. So it's been cooler. We've finally had rain after like 2 months of nothing.
Oh wow. Yeah. No, we haven't had dryness like that down here.
It's just been it came and went. There was some snow up in the mountains, but nothing really down here on the plains at all. So, but we're happy that it's gonna have some lows and we don't have to fight the heat anymore. So, I am at peace. I am ready. Let's roll some dice and let's get some context.
All right. Deck number
fell on the floor.
It ran away. Hold on. Deck number 1.
Okay. Very excited to jump around, I guess.
This is my sassy deck too.
Apparently.
Here we go. All right, sassy deck, sassy dice. Here we go. So what card are we using? Number 8. So that's going to be start of Svadhisthana. One up from where we usually are with the obelisk, so at least we're not there a minute. Okay, so this is orange on orange, metal on metal.
Ooh.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. This is the sassy deck. Hold on, damn it. Acknowledge ringing bells. Heed your intuition's alarm. Respect its concern.
Okay. So this is metal touching metal. So this is the second chakra touching the second chakra, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, for me, this would be the waters of emotion. For you, it's the metal, often the heated metal of emotion.
The clanging.
Intuition.
Hold on, damn it. Acknowledge ringing bells. Heed your intuition's alarm. Respect its concern.
So, all right, pause. Everybody just pause.
All right.
Intuition's alarm. I like that. That's a great turn of phrase. Intuition's alarm. Because oftentimes I think like panic and anxiety come out as alarms as well, but this is different. This is a different kind of alarm. This is that gut feeling, not so much the head anxiety or like the shoulder anxiety. It's not an upper anxiety. It's a very deep lower anxiety where you
feel it in your guts.
Yeah, and I should say lower anxiety. It's a lower emotion. It's a deep emotion where it's like, nope, that's not quite right.
So this is a look before you leap moment. And if something is telling you to pay attention, then you need to do so. So that's our context.
Pay attention.
Pay attention.
And hold on. Like, I like that. Hold on a minute. Like, you have to give yourself pause when you're dealing with anything emotional. You need to give yourself pause to process it because we don't rationalize as fast as we feel. And that's biological. That's a good instinct, right? You don't want to rationalize the prey and predator relationship while it's happening. You want to run.
Yes. Goodbye. But in this moment, there's an invitation to trust your intuition.
That's good. That's good. And I think that's something that's very underdeveloped for a lot of people.
I think that might actually be the profession. Hold on, I'm curious now. I'm pretty sure this is, it's never come up in our readings, but I'm pretty sure this is the one that says, I profess that I feel my trustworthy intuition guiding me. Is that correct?
We'll find out.
I profess that I feel my trustworthy intuition guiding me.
There we go. So, it's almost like you wrote the thing.
Wow, where did that come from? Oh yeah, me.
So
all
hold
right,
on.
So
pause. We've got something. We've got something. Something needs your attention. Something is knocking at your second chakra's door. That could be taken many different ways, but in this case, the little clang of metal. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
I'm down here.
Vibrations.
I'm down here. I've got some vibrational energy for you.
The tingles.
The tingles. Oh, I like that. This reminds me of Spider-Man. The tingles.
Mm-hmm.
Would the tingles have been his second chakra, you think? The Peter tingle?
I think I would love it if Peter tingled. So, Peter Parker. I would think so.
Yeah, like intuition. It's
why? Where else would it be?
Yeah, I was thinking it could be third eye, like being able to see through the clutter of the world.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I can see that too.
I think it's very instinctual, especially in the last movie. It was very sort of, it happened instinctively with the body. The body was doing it as a reflex. So I don't feel like it was that high in the chakra system. I feel like we're down here. So get your spidey sense out. Something is happening? Off. Something is off.
I wasn't ready for this much. I'm so sleepy. I can't even think of the word. It's like
nerd.
Yeah. Nerd vibes. Nerd vibes are great. Innuendo is the word I was looking for.
Innuendo.
What a fabulous word. So, what are we paying attention to, I wonder?
Let's find out. Let's get a little context.
Now you're getting a tingle.
Yes, I usually do get a tingle when I do this. Except it's my 30 eye. 30 eye? My 30 eye?
You got 30 eyes. All right, so. Snake lady.
My third eye.
Spider lady.
Oh, boy.
Snake, I meant spider.
Oh boy.
Hell, what is this going to be?
But we're in the second chakra. This is the 4 of waves.
Oh, wow. Yep. So just stay right here.
Yep. Still your waters with intention, not fear.
So we need to pay attention to something, it seems.
Yeah, and it's again, this is actually, reminding you not to go to fear, not to go to anxiety, not to slip down to the root chakra where you feel unsafe and out of balance, but to stay grounded and let your waters still with intention. So don't just do nothing to do nothing. Like, this is an invitation just to stop and stay still and, freeze. This isn't a freeze moment. This is okay, hang on.
It's almost like these first 2 cards are a reminder that just because something has grabbed your attention, you don't have to presume it's necessarily dangerous. Pause, think about what's happening, consider it. Don't fall down into fear. Stay right here in the waters, feel your feelings. And that doesn't have to be bad. It doesn't have to be scary. Just because something's an alarm doesn't mean it's bad.
Lots of biological alarms go off all the time. And this is, in still water, you can hear for miles and hundreds of miles. There's nothing getting in the way of sensing the vibrations of your intuition.
So at first, my impression was that we need to pay attention to something because it's dangerous or scary, but that's not necessarily the case.
No.
I don't want it to go in that direction. I'm glad you said don't go down into the first chakra, stay in the second chakra. Just because you need to pay attention to something doesn't mean that it's threatening.
I mean, I'm in the middle of writing like gothic, agrarian, southern horror, Appalachian horror type stories. So, initially when I'm like, trust your intuition, like that's not a deer. That's not a deer. Like that's kind of where I went initially, because I think that it's very valid in that, when we hear alarm bells, when we're like, trust your gut, it's usually over something like that. But your gut, your second chakra has so much more depth to it than just telling you that's not a deer, run. It has so much more rich information to share with you, and you can get a sense of many different things, people, places, and vibes and such.
Sure. And the 2 strongest emotions are love and fear. Sure. Yeah. Okay. But they're not the only 2. To your point, there's an entire gradient of sensation that can be coming from this place.
It's funny. I put love in the heart chakra and fear in the root chakra. So I leave space for other emotions in this area.
Well, so then that kind of just hammers the point, if you will, with more metal.
More metal.
That just because something's grabbing for your attention doesn't mean you don't have to assume that it's threatening. It might be, but it doesn't have to be.
No, and I think this is a reflection to say there is something clamoring, right? There is something needing your attention, and metal transmits sound even faster than water does.
It does.
So it's, something within your bridge here is saying, hello, I need your attention. And the second card here, Still Your Waters with Intention and Not Fear, is this chance to say you're not freezing, you're stopping, you're pausing. Just like the first card said, wait, hold on, give yourself a moment here. You need to process that what is going on is happening and how to deal with what's going on. And you have to do that out of a place of intention. So you have to sort of intentionally get down, sit with your second chakra, which is very, even for you, movable. There's a lot of flow to the second chakra. It's not an easy place to balance from. It's very wobbly. The hips are very wobbly. If you lose your core, you're just centered on your hips. Oftentimes, you're like the imperial walker, to be a little bit more nerdy, who can't walk over the logs because it's all hips.
It's all hips. This is a very interesting start for the reading that they both are right here in the exact same spot. I'm eager to see what's next.
Let's do it.
Where do you want to draw from?
Let's go ahead and do another roll. I feel like we need. You started it. I think we need you to clarify.
You started it. Okay. Here's your favorite deck, number 3, the intersections. These are the most abstract, also the most beautiful.
They are the most beautiful.
Hold on, that roll doesn't count. I got interference.
Interference.
Okay, way up high, number 40. All right, so this is water, blue, third eye, I see, and how it is influenced by fire, solar plexus, Manipura, I do, I see, and I do. Blue on yellow.
So we have correlation with the third chakra, the solar plexus. We both have that as fire.
Yes.
But it's interesting that your water now has come up, which for you is third eye.
Yes, way up high.
Remind me why third eye and water went together for you. What was it about those two that combined?
Hold on, I'm writing a note about this card. This is deck number 3. That was number 40 of 49. So let me think about that. It's been so long since I did this. I had a very strong logical system for it, and I haven't had to think about it. I remember now. It's because perception and knowledge and understanding can take so many different shapes. And the way water takes the shape of whatever the container is and how fluid that perception can be was why I ended up attaching water here, because you can take the same information and reform it practically in any number of ways based on who's even having a conversation or who's perceiving. And it seemed not only because of the color blue, but also because of that infinite reshapeability, I felt that this was the elemental for the third eye.
It's interesting. I like that idea of the reframability, the resensibility of it, because there is something very unstated, three-dimensional, like undefinable about the information we receive through the third eye. And to me, it's about the connection outward, looking for that lack of separation, right? Being able to see past the veil of individuality. And so I see that water is a very interesting metaphor for there, because there isn't really an element in my system that like goes with where you have elements for all of your chakras. In my system, I don't like the elements really stop at air and the heart, and then you just got throat, third eye, and crown, which are sort of elementless for me. So I like the idea of feeling in the water, because water has so many different sensations that it can give you. It can give you sound, but it can give you feeling. It can give you sight, but all of those things are maybe just like a little murky. Like they're a little bit untinged from the reality possibly of what you're seeing. So, I these beautiful images of the blue whale surfacing, and it's sort of indistinct, and you just have water, and then there's something there. Like you can see it, but you can't see it. And then it gets closer, and it becomes clearer and clearer and larger and larger. And then suddenly it, breaks the surface, and you're like, my God, this is a huge, magnificent creature that then settles right back down into those depths and disappears from sight. So I just like that way that water can have that sort of hidden yet magnificent effect. And if you were in the water, you could also feel the perception of that, magnificent, huge creature rising. You could feel the pressure of that movement coming towards you, the reverberations that went beyond sight, that went into intuition, into other senses of the body. So I like that kind of state for the third eye. I think that's really a beautiful way to think about it.
There's also the concept that the ocean, for example, or a lake or a pond, or even a glass of water, we think of it as a specific quantity, and yet it's made up of countless water drops. And you can scoop them out and get them one at a time, but then they disappear into each other and become this whole, this definable quantity that's made up of all these undefinable little bits of itself. And that's how I think about information usually.
Well, it goes back to me in the cosmic ocean and the great, thing that we all come from, the idea about being drops, but then being returned to the ocean and being part of the ocean, and no longer single and separate. And it's a very interesting, good metaphor for potential, beyond descriptions of things that can't be described. So it's a wonderful metaphor.
Number 36 is the opening for my water cycle, and with that one, the haiku uses the image of adhesion for the metaphor. And adhesion, if you're not aware, is when two drops of water are attracted to each other and they conjoin onto each other. And the idea in the haiku is that as more and more of these water droplets grab onto each other, they start to pool. And that's rather the way we learn. We take bits of information and we glob them together until we have an ocean of knowledge, but it's based on all these individual little pieces that we've connected together. And so that was one of the reasons why water seemed like it fit here in the third eye for me.
Interesting. All right. And this intersection is water with fire, which is interesting.
Yep. So with the inversion of this, where you have fire as the main elemental and it meeting with water, that metaphor, I'm pretty sure, is when you add heat to water to create like tea or cooking or elixirs. You're applying knowledge towards your action to create something productive. With this one, however, I'm pretty sure that the haiku for this was steam engines. And the way that they rotate through their cycles over and over and over. And as we understand technology better, they get more and more efficient. So the idea here is that by way of practice, you have whatever this water, whatever this water droplet is. And as you act with it over and over and over, you get better and better at understanding whatever it is. And in that particular haiku, it was looking at the expanding efficiency of steam engines. until you end up with nuclear reactors and stuff like that. So the idea of constant refinement and understanding deeply by way of practice.
So going back to our larger context of weight, intuition, intention, removing fear, here you have an opportunity to bring action to insight.
Mm-hmm. And to, looking at the opening of the reading, you don't have to rush through this.
No, this is very deliberate.
What it's asking you to do is to pay very close attention and to polish whatever it is you're doing. Don't rush through it. You might have a deadline, whatever this external alarm is, but doesn't mean that you have to be sloppy. Doesn't mean you have to proceed with panic. Use your skill, use your knowledge, and be effective.
There's something to be gained or gleaned. So this is, we're talking about like intuition. Where does it fit? Is it in the third eye? Is it in the second chakra? I think this is an opportunity to do both. So I'm sensing that there's a deep intuition that you're feeling. There's something that you're bodily aware of, and your body is aware of a lot of things all the time. Mm-hmm. We're constantly scanning. Most of our brain power is used to constantly scan the environment, process it, use our well-constructed pathways to define things so quickly that we can't rationally comprehend what's happening. We just know something, and we can act on that knowledge, on that instinctive knowledge. So there's a bodily sensation that is ringing for you, and you need to attune to it, but you need to do so with your spiritual connection and guidance as well. So you have to have a sense of what's beyond you in a more spiritual layer to really understand this intuition that you're having. So I think you're having an intuition. I think it is something external to you that is resonating, and you're getting that tapping, that alarm bell ringing, and it's something external, so that you have to attune not just to yourself but to others to find the intention, right, the meaning that is within this sensation that's arising from your depths, from your molten core, such as like the planet, the deep gravity that holds us together.
I'm also getting the idea that there is the wisdom that you build by way of experience. And if you are able to trust your instinct, you are also able to trust your discipline and your technique. Mm-hmm. So, for example, as a dancer, I know what the physical alignment of something is before I even do it. And so even when I'm dancing with somebody else, like with contact improv, I can anticipate how something should or should not feel and how it should or should not move through my body, because technique is a learned form of intuition. And if you're able to trust that you know something really well and that you're practiced at whatever it is that you're doing, you can trust both your instinct and your experience. You don't need to rush into poor choices or be bullied by time. You have tools at your, at the ready. Some of them you're born with, some of them you've picked up by way of knowledge, and just trust yourself. Trust yourself.
I really like that tools moment there. Skills. There are learned behaviors, and specifically because we're in the core now, there is a resonance of experience. I was watching some reels, some TikToks, and they would play the intro music to different songs for these K-pop groups. So it's their song, and if you are familiar with K-pop, they do a dance video for every song that's just them doing a very complicated choreography that's beautiful to watch. And then they'll do a music video, which may combine some elements of the dance, but won't usually be as complex because they're also doing singing and acting and, a full music video experience. But what they would do is they would suddenly play one of their songs and the bodies would just start to move. Mm-hmm. There wasn't thought about it. They would just immediately fall into the choreo because they are so used to those movements, those steps, that
it's
dance.
Neural pathways that have been specifically built.
And so it was an instinctual, intuitive moment where the body just knew what to do. It didn't have to think about it. I think this happens with piano players. I play a little bit. I had some lessons in college. I, have been practicing things like Moonlight Sonata for Elise. Like I can kind of con my way through those songs when I need to. But there's muscle memory to it because I haven't played in 4 or 5 years at this point. And before that, probably another, 5 or 10, just my life took me away from where I had a piano to play on. Mm-hmm. And the memory will come back. Like I'll kind of get into it and I'll feel the groove. Like sometimes my fingers will know where to go, even though my rational mind doesn't. Yeah, I can just feel where the keys are, where the fingers go, and that will kind of come back to me when I start to play it again. But I still have to pull out the sheet music and look at it. But oftentimes, it's more that muscle memory returning to me than it is being able to look at the sheet music to see.
Yeah, and what you're describing also is probably going to sound familiar to anybody who's ever done martial arts training, like with Taekwondo or Karate or Kung Fu or any of that. Especially with karate, I've had a few clients who are black belts. And if I remember correctly, they have to create their own katas. So when they get into the highest levels, they have to take what they've learned and create new combinations with them to demonstrate that they understand the flow of all these different movements. And when you're having to defend yourself, these physical habits simply take over and you don't have to think. Now, of course, that example takes us back towards danger and panic and self-defense and everything, but it's a good example of how the body remembers.
Well, I think it doesn't have to. Like, I know that martial arts, kind of has that idea of attack and defense, and definitely comes from that place. But we also have like Tai Chi.
Yeah, which is very, very slow kung fu. It's very beautiful.
Well, but it creates a discipline of the mind and the body and of the soul. And in combining those elements and creating that intuitive sense, there's also a sense of just presence in the world. And so you will hold yourself differently. You will walk through life differently. And, they talk about Zen and the art of, right? Zen and the art of archery is probably the most famous book that did this, but a lot of authors have taken the Zen and the art of X and the idea about finding enlightenment and connection to the other, to the ether through the physical discipline of something. So it doesn't have to be attack defense. I think that it isn't in this case. When you said tools.
Oh, okay. Sorry to interrupt, but I this little kitten might scamper away. So let me get it out.
Get it.
Okay. So using calligraphy to learn how to fight with swords. Mm-hmm. The idea that the flick of your wrist and this beautiful gesture that's being created on the paper is the same gestures that you need to defend yourself with a sword. When you were talking, that just came into my mind. The idea that calligraphy and swordsmith work is very, very intertranslatable.
Well, tools. It all goes back to tools, and we're talking about intuition and muscle memory within the body. This can happen with experiences. Like I was navigating a very tricky patch with work this last week, and I relied a lot on my instincts and my tools that I had built to navigate the situation, to deal with the interplay of a lot of different negative influences and find my way through it.
In your case, the toolbox will be your training and background with psychology and therapy and other understandings of human behavior and how sure that can be used therapeutically. But in this instance, it sounds like diplomacy.
A little bit, yeah. No, that was very, very, very accurate. But that's the idea though. Like you have tools. So I think here we are. You have this is a reminder that you have a toolbox to use in this instance. So you don't have to make up the answer.
No,
and I think that's why
and you don't have only a hammer. You have other stuff in there. Not everything is a nail.
I think it's telling you that you need to attune to this sensation, this information, but you need to also realize that you have the tools to address it. And whatever it is that needs to be addressed, you have the toolbox to address it with. And as much as you are looking outside for information, for connection, maybe for spiritual guidance and community, spiritual community around an issue, around something that's going on within you, you have tools to bring that out.
Yeah, the affirmation here from the first 3 cards is that you are capable, you're knowledgeable, you're talented, you're capable, and whatever this is that you're needing to address, you can do this. You are a well-endowed intellectual person who has wisdom and practice and experience, and you can trust that you will make a good decision. Just take your time and use your tools. The correct tools for the correct job.
Yes. It's easy to reactively
grab the hammer.
Yes.
But you may not need a hammer.
It's,
I understand wanting to grab the hammer first.
Well, I think that's why the still your waters, like,
yes,
sense this sensation, but don't have that immediate brainstem response. There's other tools here.
Yes, you might need, I don't know, a file. You might need a screwdriver. You might need anything but a hammer, or you might actually need a hammer, but figure it out first.
Or combination. The hammer's
or all the above.
The hammer's useful too.
Get some tweezers. Figure it out.
What are you building? I think is what we haven't really got to. So I'm gonna pull my next card because I think we've been talking about this, but what are we circling toward? Let's see. Oh, okay. This is a good one. So we went to the throat chakra meets the root chakra. So this is the number 1 in the major arcana, called the magician. Oftentimes I call it the primal. You already have what you need. Now do it.
We just had this entire conversation.
Yep.
I love it when the cards do this. They like reaffirm what we're already saying. Okay, so we're on the right path here.
You already have what you need. Now do it. The magician is about unlimited possibility. It's in my sense, it's the person who shapes the elements. So they take the great ether and they shape the elements from it. And then the other characters in the first wave of the arcana deal with those elements in some way. So like the third chakra power, right? When it gets to the third chakra, it's about shaping those elements, and creating
really
them. So this is about the pure act of creation.
This is almost a copy paste of number 4049, what we just did with knowledge and action, putting them together. This is taking that idea and adding creativity on top of it, but it's really pretty much a reiteration of what we already pulled from mind. So it's nice when the cards are telling us that we're going in the right direction. So what we've said so far is that you're capable, you have these tools, you have the experience, you have the knowledge, you have the wisdom. Now, how can you also be creative with it? So in what we want to call it, problem solving, I don't know, whatever it is that you're seeking an answer to or a response for, when you are approaching it, also remember to include your creativity, that there aren't necessarily going to be right and wrong answers. You just have to get to the exact right answer. It could be, or it might be an opportunity for you to really play and bring some magic into it and do something creative that not only addresses whatever the situation is, but perhaps prevents it from happening again. How do you do this in a creative manner?
Well, I think this goes a little bit deeper than creativity because it's connecting to the root chakra. I think this is a little bit deeper than creativity. I think this is generativity.
Okay, yeah.
So I think that you have the tools. I think what this is telling you is that you're here to shape the very elements that you need. So the toolbox that you have, intuition is telling you to become aware of a situation, to connect spiritually with that situation and with the implications of that situation. But then not only do you have the toolbox, but you have the power within you to create the elements themselves that you can then shape. And like we talked about the creativity aspect there, but you can create the base pairs, the very root, right, of your being, the DNA that creates you and is uniquely yours. You have the power to shape those elements and use your tools upon them to get to the action, right? Because we still had action, and the throat chakra is about interplay with people and with the voice. So you've got an interaction with people, you've got a spiritual interaction, you've got a physical interaction, and we are all centered around the core here of power and fire and molten metal and movement.
Remind me when we get to the extended version for members because we're going to talk about how this affects us directly. This is something that's very specific to the novel I just completed.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So remind me to bring that up.
Okay. The novel.
And say something about generativity and what's the key word that'll help me remember this? Generativity and intersection. Say that and I'll know what we're talking about. Okay. Yeah. All right. I'll remember what we're talking about.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, we do have a members only version of the podcast where we talk about how the reading affects us personally. So you get to kind of hear what the insights that we have of ourselves in relation to the reading. So that's a little extra segment for people that want to support us. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, you're the primal. You're literally the first mover, the prime mover that they talk about in philosophy. You are God in this instance, and you have that power within your life. And I think that's actually something that we just don't connect with a lot, because I think Western religion beats down on us how not God we are, how not powerful we are, how it's like 12 steps, like it's you are a sinner, you are just a terrible, terrible sinner, and so far removed from anything good that you could possibly be. And I hate that. I hate that beat downness. I hate it for people dealing with addiction. I hate it for people dealing with spiritual growth. Like it's
I hate
terrible.
It so much I wrote a whole novel about it.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I don't need to tell you about that. But yeah, no, I don't like that as the starting point. And it's presumptuous to say, "Oh, I am God," but you have godlike powers in your life. You do. You have the ability to shape how you interact with the world and how you create yourself as a being. And yes, we're created by our environments, but we can go back and change it. Like we have therapies now where you could literally go back and reshape the emotions surrounding core events in your life and come out of them in a more positive place. We've got narrative therapy where you can retell your story in a way that brings you through in a powerful sense of self. Like that's primal abilities. That's godlike abilities within your life. So your toolbox is vast and is powerful.
In my system, that's number 3 of 49. That's the, I profess that I am the architect who builds my life.
I am the architect. I like that. I used the primal. I don't have an architect, and I didn't put an architect in my sense, but I have the creator who sort of shapes the elements. I have the authority who defines the inner workings, like gravity, who defines the pathways, the order of things that will happen. So I have I think the architect is kind of a mix of those two ideas, which is the third and fourth chakras. So unsurprisingly, we have alignment. I think I'm going to do one more from my deck for today. I'm just feeling like it's not done being sassy or such, or just saying, what we've already said, which is fine. That's fine too. All right. We have the third chakra, we have the Two of Flames. Let your flames spread so you see the path.
Okay. So here we are, taking all our time, considering all this stuff, choosing the right tools, and now using that time and expertise to figure out how to actually implement the idea.
Yeah. Yeah. We have, a clear sense that you have direction. And again, going back to the third chakra, you have energy and power to fulfill this. So wait, pause, hear, listen, sense, feel. Consider. With intention.
Mm-hmm.
Consider with intention.
Create, form, plan, do.
Yes. Most importantly, do.
Do.
This requires you to do. The third chakra came up a lot. The idea of fire and molten metal and power came up a lot. You very much have something that you need to do.
Well, and so here's another affirmation then. Not only are you capable, you are not helpless.
No, you're the primal.
You are the primal. You are the fire. You are the mover. You are the shaker. So not only are you capable, but you're powerful.
Yes. And don't forget community and all this. That did come up a little bit. Don't just because you have all this within you, and you do have all this within you. The third eye also speaks to the spiritual connection with others. So this might be a chance for you to gather a coven, a tribe, a group, a circle, gather people unto you who can reemphasize and help. I can't think of words. Help you to become better able to deal with this, or give you different perspectives. Don't discount the fact that others' intuitions can be just as valued, even though they might be varied, as your own in this case.
There's a class that I teach that I've called the Breathing Oracle, and that is a practice of breath work, going through the different musical meters and colors for all the chakras. And what I do is I have somebody, or all the people in class, to consider within themselves what their mantra is. And if you don't have one, I offer my success is guaranteed until you can figure out what your mantra is. And the whole point is to, while you're breathing and calming down your nervous system, you're taking time to understand what it is you say your motto is, or what your mantra is, what your purpose is. And we go through all 7 chakras in such a way that your personal mantra intersects with one of my reminders. And when we get up to the third eye, the reminder that intersects with your mantra is this: I profess that I see collaboration as a practice rich with potential. The idea being that whatever this mantra is, whatever your goal is, you don't have to accomplish it by yourself. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to do everything. Who do you know who can help you accomplish whatever this goal is? You don't have to do it by yourself. Now, although air didn't come up a whole lot in this particular reading, the reminder was there at one point in one of the cards that you do need to have discussions. You do need to exchange ideas.
Throat and heart. Air in my system is heart, but that's just, because
right.
that's the original.
All those upper chakras are about connecting out into the world beyond your lower self, beyond earth, metal, and fire. When you get to wood and you start connecting out to other people, everything from that point up is all extending yourself outward. And so when you need to figure out a plan to work through whatever the situation is, get ideas from other people. Remember, the water is, the ocean's made of drops of water, and you don't have all the drops. Get some drops of water from other people too. Bring the adhesion in. Let other people's ideas and insights and expertise inform and help you. You don't have to do this by yourself.
No, and you are primal. You are at your core of your nature, right? It's the root chakra and the throat chakra meeting. So it is that ability to possess of you yourself and still interact with others and gain insight and knowledge. So very much so. So our total conversation here is that you have something in your life that requires you to focus on your intuition. You have a connection that you have to others that is going to inform this, both spiritual and physical. It sounds like almost you might need to talk it out. That could just be part of the stilling your water with intention, is intentionally sharing it with someone. And sometimes that very nature in itself will help you to work out the issues. You already have the power, you already have the tools, and finally you have to let your flames go forward in order for you to see the path. So it's okay that you don't see the path right now. I think that's what the last card's reminding you. It's okay that you don't see the path right now. You have to light torches in order to see in the darkness. So your intuition will tell you which direction to go, but you still need to light torches to see brambles and pitfalls and other things, obstructions in the road. You have to create that light, and that light has to come from you. Just like the primal creates the elements, the primal can create fire in order to see in the darkness. We have a members only podcast. If you would like to support the show and get to hear us talk about how the readings influence us personally, you can subscribe to that through Apple Podcasts. The podcast app there with Apple, you can subscribe. We have a YouTube. It's Show Your Deck on YouTube. We do post the episodes there with pretty pictures, so you can see the cards that we are talking about on the screen, and they're very beautiful and lovely. Books and decks are available. If you go to showyourdeck.com, you can get a hold of our books and our deck. My book is available on Kindle Unlimited for free, or you can purchase a hard copy, both in paperback and hardback. Jack's book is available through his website, 49haiku.com. You can go there and grab his book, and it's lovely, and it's the perfect size. It's exactly as it should be, and there's nice little autographs that you get, and your choice of ink color, and it's just lovely and wonderful, and to the total package. And then our decks are available at showyourdeck.com. You can order through our deck distributor. Jack, where can we find you?
I'm at 49 Haiku. So on the interwebs, it's 49haiku.com. And on, what is it called? Instagram, it's at 49 Haiku.
And I am at Dean Sage Media, where you can find me. So if you find me, you find me, and I am there. And,
go look.
Yes. I am pretty responsive on Instagram, and I occasionally stop in on X, so you can find me there sometimes. The show does have an Instagram. It's at Your Deck on Instagram, and we thank you so much for listening.